What's going on, guys? What's good? We are out here. It is now 3.5 weeks out of Matsuri, so it's time for me to finally start my Matsuri prep. So I've got my my new old turbo and wastegate here. I got this from Luke this morning, so you probably recognise all this stuff. It is all the setup that was on the car previously to me selling it to Luke. So Luke's decided to go to a bigger Hotside because this turbo, it does sign off at about 5,000 RPM. You see on the dyno sheet, it keeps climbing. It's quite a good power curve, but it only goes up to sort of 5,000, then it sort of drops and flatlines. For drifting, that's good. Obviously, in a drift car, you want to be able to have power as soon as you plant your foot, basically, but it is still a lot more appropriately sized than the turbo that I've got on the car now. But obviously, Luke's EH is not made to drift. He's a drag racer at heart, and he's hunting for that extra power and that extra RPM. So he's decided to go to a bigger size turbo for his, so he's getting rid of this. He's also going to a bigger gate, so I managed to get my 38mm Turbo Smart Ultra Gate off him. So this is obviously a good quality gate, which hopefully should not give me any troubles, as opposed to the one that's on there now that keeps getting stuck open. So obviously the big thing with running the bigger turbo, as you all would have seen from the build if you have followed the build, is the fact that I'm just unsure at the moment whether this turbo is actually going to fit on the manifold without fouling. Every other turbo that I've tried, apart from the one that's on it now, did foul, which is why that one ended up on it, basically. So today is Wednesday the 11th. So yeah, this weekend I think it's 3 weeks till Matsuri. So anyway, I won't be doing much this week just because I don't have all the stuff I need. My plan is to get this thing up here, get the Hotside off, make sure this turbo is going to fit first, and go from there. Then I know what I need to order, and then I can continue on with it next week. So that's the plan for today. The poor old girl hasn't moved since morning sesh, since I brought it back out here. I brought it back out here after morning sesh and just parked it up, so it's still full of everything. There. I'll get up there. Needs a wash, so first thing I'm going to do is wash out the engine bay. Alright, how are we? Oh, not bad. Mighty RB30. As you can see, it's covered in crap. And this side's still got like covered in belt marks I need to buff out. Needs a good clean up to be presentable for Matsuri. So this Matsuri is probably going to be the cleanest you're going to see this car for quite a while, because after Matsuri I pretty much plan on starting to drive Archie a lot more, and probably doing a bit of damage to it. Not on purpose, but it just is what happens with drift cars. And then eventually, like I keep saying to you guys, when I put it back on the street I'll straighten it all up, tidy it up. So you can still hear that turbo is certainly not very happy, and I've developed a bit of an exhaust leak from one of the wastegate flanges, which is understandable considering the gaskets that I used when we did that. So yeah, it's not super happy. Anyway, I'm gonna give this a nice degrease and clean out because it's still filthy from Archerfield, so it's gonna be a bit nicer to work on. Righto, so I've got the hot side off. Considering the fact that it is low mount, it's actually quite easy to work on this setup the way I made it with the dump and everything. So it's actually quite easy to get apart, which is nice. Yeah, it didn't take me too long to do that. Did notice something that I didn't notice the other day though, is this rotor cap on the Dizzy is all melted here. Still seems to be running all right, so not too worried about it at the moment. But that's not exactly ideal at all. I have to imagine that was done before me and Adam did the hot side modification the other day, and we must have just missed that, because I don't think it got that hot after we'd done the wastegate. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's pretty wild, that is. Anyway, with the turbo off, having a look at it, didn't look like too bad at first. There's not a whole lot of movement, like not a ridiculous amount, but if you can see that there, I'll get you down a bit lower. Alright, so I don't know if you can see, but that nut, as you spin, it's not straight, like it's wobbling around the actual shaft, and you can see at the bottom of the housing there where the fins have actually been contacting the housing, so that's indicates a pretty bent banana shaft. The rear does the same, the rear wheel. Might be a bit hard to see on camera, but it's it moves around like a freaking banana. So I will pull it down and have a look, but my thesis or my idea, which I sort of thought was going to be the case before, is I'd say it's cracked a bearing, overheated, and that shaft's gone. Not very happy. So there's a few things that could have caused that. Obviously, like I was saying, it could have been starved for oil, it could have been backed up with pressure and caked the oil that was in the housing, or it could have just been the heat. It might just be, the cheap turbos aren't dealing with the heat, and that the cheap bearings and the cheap shafts are shitting bearings and then doing weird stuff to the shafts. So anyway, nonetheless, this turbo is pretty much a bin item now, unless I put a new core in it, which I can't see me bothering to do. So got to get this off the manifold, and first things first, I'll make sure the 3076 fits. Righto, so as you can see here on the 3076 on the manifold, it is just a no dice. Front housing is not going to clear the manifold the way that it sits now. So I do have an option. My option is that manifold that me and Adam cut up to get my wastegate flanges the other day. That obviously has a T3 flange on the manifold. I could cut that off and get it machined both sides, make sure it's flat, and run extended studs and turn it into a spacer. That is option one. Or option two is to go back to that size turbo, the one that I just took off. Just buy another one like for like and replace it. So I'm a bit reluctant to go to that size again. My reason being is that obviously when I built the car and I wanted to go that size turbo, I had it in my head that I really wanted to build pretty low power, real punchy motor, which was very good in theory. But in practice, since I've actually started driving, I've started to realize that I very much am not that sort of a driver. I do not spend very much time in those lower rev ranges. It's just not how I drive. I very much hover up around redline. So that being said, having that smaller turbo is really choking it up in those rev ranges, and it is causing lots of other issues with heat, as you have seen in the engine bay in previous videos, and you've seen from that melted rotator cap. So having that smaller turbo and choking up the hot side is causing a few problems, and it's not particularly suiting the way I am driving or the way I do drive. This is a much more appropriately sized turbo for both this motor and for the way I drive, albeit I don't have to run ridiculous pressures. I can still run it down to sort of 10 pound, which is what I expect to run, or what I would like to run. It's not going to do any more damage. I sort of just figured having the extra down low with the smaller turbo would probably help with the gearbox and not have as much shock loading, because I'd have that bit more power down low. But like I keep saying, it's just not the way I drive. I don't use any of that power down low. Even the events I've done with this turbo, I haven't done any events where the turbo is actually working correctly, and I've got that boost right down low anyway. So the first night I did was probably the only time it drove like that, and it was making way too much boost. Then I Archie and then that second Friday night drift, I had the wastegate actuator just open. So I wasn't getting that down low punch anyway. And even then, still, without having adequate wastegate port for the exhaust gases to go, the whole motor was just that choked up that it wasn't running that well anyway. So morning session with this external gate was the first time I've really had the motor running really properly. And obviously, all of morning session I pretty much spent with the gate stuck open. So I haven't been using that stuff down low anyway, and I've still just been driving it up to sort of limiter. So it's yeah, that's pretty much my justification why I would like to not go back to that size turbo again. I would like to make the 3076 work, because I think being the bigger exhaust housing, it's much more adequate for the size of the motor, which means that it's going to choke the hot side less, which means the motor is going to run better. I'm going to have less problems with heat because it's not going to retain so much in the hot side. It's going to flow more, and it's just going to make more power where I want it and where I drive. So I'm going to go down and grab this other manifold, bring it up, and have a look at this flange, cut that off, and see what I can do about it, because yeah, that's ultimately what I would like to do. It shouldn't cost me too much to take to a machine shop and just get them to machine both sides flat, and I just need to buy some extended studs. The only thing that sucks about it is I have to run two T3 gaskets, which means it's two places where it might fail, but as long as I get that machine flat, it should still be fine. So I'm going to go down and grab that now. Righto, so I got that flange off. Bit of a mission, takes a long time. I've ground it as flat as I'm prepared to grind it. I do plan on actually taking this to a machine shop and getting it machined both sides, make sure it is flat before it actually goes on, but this is going to do for mock-up purposes. So this is why I'd never really throw anything out, because like this cracked, useless manifold has actually come in so useful so far. So that's why I keep a lot of that stuff around. So anyway, I've drilled out the holes to 10.5, so they're just straight through holes now. And yeah, it's flat enough to do for mock-up. I can actually get the turbo and this on the manifold and actually get it in the car, see how it's going to sit, make sure it's going to clear everything, and go from there before I go too far into everything else. The other thing I'm going to do is this little nub here on the manifold, which is just like threaded for a heat shield or something, I'm assuming. It doesn't necessarily need to be there, I don't need it there, and it is getting in the way. So I'm going to grind that off as well and get rid of it off the manifold. It's just one less thing to be there. That gives me just a little bit more clearance in that area too. So righto, so just about with all old manifold studs, I've snapped just about all the studs off in the manifold. Tried everything, tried heating with the oxy, used a stud remover to actually try and get them out, but they just too grown in there, and those three snapped. That one came out alright. So just gonna have to drill and tap those ones, which is a pain, but somewhat expected when you're dealing with an old cast manifold. Just one of those things. So anyway, that's gonna take me a while. So this is pretty much the worst thing ever. It has been, as you can see, it's getting dark, pretty much dark. Nice little sunset out here. Yeah, not bad. Quite nice, actually. Quite nice. Anyway, I've been just going out drilling these freaking studs out. Still going. Just got to drill, sharpen. That one's getting there. Like probably one more size on that, and I might be able to get it. But wow, what an absolute pain. Anyway, Rex is on. Rex is unboxing some presents. So this is a little sneak peek. What's going on here, mate? What's this?
Aren't we keeping this secret?
Oh, you're keeping it secret.
Oh, fuck you.
I mean, well, yeah, I suppose. It is what it is. It's just a
secret. It's
a shiny thing in a box.
It's a shiny thing in a box. That's it.
Ah, what's it for? Where's it going?
It's a paperweight.
Who knows?
Paperweight.
It's a really, really expensive paperweight.
Yeah.
Just to hold this box on the bench.
To hold down all of our stacks of money. Wouldn't it be funny if I dropped it?
Hilarious. What?
It's going to be all black.
Oh.
It's actually bigger than I thought it would be.
Nice! Nice! Not bad!
Should go, alright.
Also, guys, this is the tonner I was telling you about in the last one, or that video where we went and got Liam's RB. But this is the HQ. We pulled the front off it the other day. It's going on another HQ. But anyway, just let us know if you're like actually interested in me making any content on it, and I'll make some content. If not, I'll just leave it and keep doing it as we go. It's got nothing to do with this big old blower sitting on this bench.
That's a different thing.
Either way, get excited,
Well,
guys.
big things be happening.
How exciting is that? Well, you just have to wait and see. You better subscribe so you don't miss it. Righto, late start today, guys. I feel like absolute shit, but car's got to get prepped, so I've got to keep going. Anyway, I spent till like 9 o'clock last night trying to sort out these freaking manifold studs. Got them all out, but these two, the threads are just wrecked. There's not enough meat on the threads. So, real pain in the ass. I've got a few options of how I can fix it. Still haven't decided what way to go about it. And really just pissed off that Hybrid Performance still don't have the high mount T3 manifold in stock. Like, that would have solved all my issues from the very start. The same manifold that Liam got and that Luke ended up getting for his EH, or mild motor that's in his EH. That's all I want. It's like cheap, high mount, steam pipe manifold. But they just don't have any in stock. I don't know what the go is. It's a pain in the ass. So, gonna have to persist with this because the only ones that Hybrid have is like a split entry T3, and they're like, by the time you buy them and get them shipped, it's like $710, which is just stupid. Then you can buy a TOG for like $850. But if you're spending that much, you may as well just buy a 6-boost, which is just not gonna happen. I'm not spending that sort of money, so yeah, gonna have to persist. I can either try and machine the back of it flat and use just a through bolt, is one option. The other option is to drill and tap it a size bigger and then machine a bolt down and re-tap it so that it is like a stepped stud. It's another option. Yeah, I don't know. A few things I've got to sort out. But either way, at least I got the studs out, which means at this point now, this morning, I'm just going to get some bolts that are long enough to bolt the turbo and the spacer to the manifold so that I can dummy it into the car. And make sure it's all going to fit and clear everything I want it to clear. So that's what I need to do this morning so I can make a decision then. So first things first is to clean up all the swarf and clean this out. I also last night got the die grinder and sort of tried to port match this a little bit to both the turbo size and the manifold size, just because it was a bit of encroach from where they obviously welded the collector, and I didn't want it having, it's got to be nice and ported a little bit. So I did that last night too. So anyway, so yeah, you can see this side where I sort of feathered the edges so that it matches the inside port size of the manifold, and then this one on the back here is pretty much perfect size T3, and it matches the port size on the turbo. So that just obviously with gases, they have mass and they have to flow. It's not good to have like sharp edges for them to hit against, and then also if they're hitting against the sharp edge, it's going to put more pressure on the gasket on that surface. So just a little bit of patience. Anyway, and I wanted to do that before it gets machined, obviously, because I don't want to be screwing with this flange once it's machined down. Righto, guys. So step one, we have it on the manifold. We have clearance. It's working pretty good. It just clears down here. Pretty glad I obviously grinding that little stub off has helped a lot. That was a good move to do that. And we've just got clearance. So I will lose a little bit of height on this spacer when it gets machined, but I figured what I will lose, I will regain in having two gaskets. So clears on the manifold. So that's step one. So it's time now to dummy fit it into the car and just make sure we've got clearance all for the block and the engine mount and everything else around this area. So chuck her in and see. Righto, guys, she is very, very tight, but it does all fit. So what I probably will do is the engine mount down there, it is just clearing at the moment, but what I probably will do is just grind off a little bit of this edge of the engine mount here where it's near the turbo. It's very close. It's also just off the block, like just comes off the block, but it's enough that it shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, in short, it's gonna work. Everything sort of fits. It's all pretty nice. I've worked out oil and water feeds. So I've got a new oil feed here. This is the kits that came with Rex's Kinagawa GDX 2867s that he put on the cruiser. He didn't use these obviously because he has an LS. his feeds are all really long and all that stuff anyway. And because that was already turboed, it already had all those oil feeds and everything on it. So he didn't use this kit, so I've got a new braided dash 4 feed. So that'll be the banjo into the top of the turbo feed, which is then to that fitting, which I'll then run this around the colder side of the turbo down to the oil feed off the block. So I just need to buy a fitting for the block to fit that. And then for the water, the return will stay the same. Hopefully that's not a problem. For the water, I've got, this is the old water feed that I got back off Luke when I got the turbo back. So it's the old one that came off the turbo. So I just need to shorten that up. So that'll go to the outside part here. So it'll feed from the water feed at the back of the block. It'll feed around and into this side. So that'll be the feed in for the water. And then out, I'll use this right angle because the out is obviously very close to the block. So I'll use the right angle, which will go straight back like that to the barb. And then from the barb, I'll run soft line back around and tee it into the heater. So that's all the lines. The intake is still going to work fine. I'm just gonna have to modify the bracket. It's gonna sit up a bit higher to clear everything. So it's gonna sit up like that, but that's fine. So I'll just modify my little bracket there to make it sit where it needs to sit. And I'll get a 423-inch adapter. Adam's actually got a spare one at his house. He said I could grab off him. So that's gonna be fine. And 3-inch intake's gonna be fine, because if you actually have a look at the fronts of the housing, it's even though it's 4-inch diameter, it's pretty hard to see. I'll show you when I get it off. Because of the anti-surge, it's pretty much a 3-inch. The front of the wheel is about 3-inch anyway, so 3-inch is still going to be plenty adequate for an intake for what I want to do. And everything else is, yeah, works and lines up and is going to do. I'll get that back on now. Piece of shit. So anyway, yeah, it's all gonna work. It's all gonna line up. See it down there. It's, yeah, pretty big, pretty serious for a low mount setup, but it is gonna work. So yeah, sticking with the low mount. Gonna stick with the low mount. It's a pain. I would like to go high mount. It just makes things easier. But like I said, the last thing I really want to do is run a cheap eBay stainless manifold. That's not gonna happen. I'm not about to pay $1,000 for a 6 boost. That's not gonna happen. And the only other steam pipe manifold option I've got was hybrid, and they just seem to have gone out of business. They don't seem to have any stock anymore, so that's not going to happen. So anyway, from here, now that I know it's going to work, from here now I can take that flange back with me, or my spacer. I will take that to machine shop tomorrow and try and get it machined both sides. I will have to buy all my new gaskets and stuff again for what I want to do. I'm going to have to remake my dump pipe, which will be fine. I still have, because Luke's got the Mamba V-band adapter on the back of the housing, which he paid quite a bit of money for, but I don't particularly need to use that because of the way I designed this dump, obviously with the 6-bolt setup, having the V-band just down there at the dump, down a bit further. I don't particularly need the V-band up the top because I can still pull the whole turbo setup out without it on there. So I still have the old, I haven't even got it up here, so but I do have the old 4-bolt dump pipe that used to be on this setup that I got back with the rest of my exhaust. So I still have the correct flange for the back of it. So all I'll do is my dump pipe here, I'll just cut off the flexi from there, and then just remake the top part with the new flange and some more bends, and I will actually put this further down. Still won't be far enough down as I'd like, but it's going to be better than it was. So that's the plan. So anyway, like I said, today, this episode was all about figuring it out so that I knew where I was headed, and I can start organising, getting the gear together to do it. So while I'm remaking the dump as well, I think I will actually plumb that wastegate into the new dump when I make it. May as well do it while I'm at it, so I'll probably do that. I do have, because Luke gave me this little dog leg plus the screamer here, I do actually have enough flanges that I could leave my screamer intact, leave it, and I've got enough flanges there that I could make it so that the plumb back is all flanged. That way, if I want to, I can pull the plumb back out, put the screamer on, and blank it off. so that I could run a screamer for Matsuri and that sort of stuff, but still plumb it back in for the street and archer field and that. So I may look at doing that. It is a possibility. I have enough flanges to do it now. So maybe, I don't know, I'll see what happens when I get to that point. Anyway, I can't really complain with how it sits. It's it all is working, it works pretty well. It's looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. I just gotta try and sort out this these threads on the manifold. Looking at it, I think I've got a pretty good idea how I can fix it. I think I can bring it back. I think it's gonna be okay. Like I said, if worst comes to worst, I'll have to tap it out bigger and then machine down a bolt and make like a step down stud. So that's like looking at the rear housing on the turbo, it's annoying because I reckon if I got one of those 12-point nuts, I could run a 12 mil complete 12 mil stud, and I reckon there would be enough room to get a 12-point nut on the stud on the turbo housing. It wouldn't fail. But the issue is all of the T3 gaskets and etc. are all standard built for M10 studs. So you can't actually fit a 12 mil stud through the T3 gasket, which will create a massive problem because there's not really any good way you could make that bigger without damaging the gasket. So it could go to a 12 mil stud. That would be not that hard. It's just the fact that it would always be a pain in the ass for everything. So I would like to keep it 10 mil. So anyway, fact is, it's gonna work. It's gonna fit. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty excited to be running the bigger turbo again. I'm getting very excited for Matsuri. I think this car's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully once this is sorted, the car is sorted finally, and I'm excited to finally drive with some boost. That's going to be exciting. So anyway, what I am going to do is when I get home today, I'm going to email Hybrid Performance again. I'm going to pretty much ask them what the hell the go is and whether they might be able to get a T3 high mount. Because if I could get one of their high mounts, I may think about doing that for Matsuri. Because the fact is, I got to remake the dump. I got to refab all that stuff anyway with this setup. So now's the time to go high mount if I'm going to, because I got to refab it all anyway. So it makes sense to do it now, but I'm just not prepared to pay the big dollars for a 6 boost or something because it's just unnecessary in my opinion for this setup. So I'll email them. If I can't get one, I'll continue going down this path. If I can get one, that's going to be good, but I'm excited that this is going to work. So that's this week's job accomplished. So this weekend's 3 weeks out from Matsuri. So I'll go sort out all this stuff, make sure I collect everything I need to get it done, and next week it will be all systems go getting this car ready for Matsuri. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. As always, hope you're enjoying the content. I hope everyone's as excited for Matsuri as I am. I'm very excited for Matsuri. So yeah, I'm so happy. Yeah, I'm just stoked to be finally going back to Matsuri with the car. It's been a long time now. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hit like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.